number one favorite station at ATL, Power 108.9.
Keep up with Power 108.9 on social media.
How can I find you?
Instagram
at Power 108.9
and Facebook
at Power 108.9.
It's the exact same thing. It's at Power 108.9.
Okay.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Yo, it's Michael McFadden of Power 108.9, and I want to ask you a question. Are you looking for a new house? If so, you need to holler at our guy, the mortgage guy, Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com. Yeah, Alvin like the chipmunk, and Jameson like that fine whiskey. Not only can he help you on the purchase of that new home, he can also assist you on that refinance as well. So whether it's FHA, conventional, and of course that VA home loan that you sitting on right now, yo, call Alvin Jameson. 404-587-9033. Once again, 404-587-9033. Trust the guy we trust here at Power 108.9. Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com, or just call him 404-587-9033. And of course, tell him you heard it right here on Power 108.9. Let's go.
If you've never been to Power 108, let me tell you something. It smells amazing. I don't know where the smell is coming from. It looks vacuumed. The microphone has definitely been sanitized. Okay, like this is a no COVID zone. Okay, this is a no germ zone. Okay, yes. I wanted to cough, but I'm scared.
Surgery.
If I cough, I feel like somebody's gonna come get me. It's gonna be like, "Skr, come with me."
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Yo, this is Michael McFadden of Power 108.9, and right now you're listening to Tuesdays with Ty right here on Power 108.9. Don't believe me? Just simply say, "Hey Alexa, play Power 108.9.
The opinions and views expressed by this program are those of the program host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Power 108.9 and its officials. We hope you enjoy.
What's up, my good people, and welcome to the Ty Norris Evening Show on Power 108.9. Listen, we're back in the studio. I missed y'all. Did y'all miss me? Well, listen, I've got two amazing guests in the hot seat on tonight on Power 108.9, your station for the people. It's the most eclectic, versatile, and diverse internet radio station on air, currently reaching 90,000 listeners across the globe. We've built an unbreakable bond in this community, and I want you to be a part of the show on tonight. I want you to like, and I want you to share, and then I want you to share, and I want you to like. Did you get that? Listen, tonight I've got two powerful speakers sitting here in the studio. I've got Dr. Sean Harris. Y'all seen him? I know you've seen him. He's here in the studio, and I've got David Power Talk Solomon, and he's got some exciting news to share with y'all. You don't want to miss it. Listen, I want you to follow me on Instagram at TyNorris02 on Instagram, and on Facebook, The Lifestyle Store. I want you to like and share and tune in as we come back to the Ty Norris Evening Show on Power 108.9.
Keep it locked. Power 108.9, the station for the people.
If you're a content creator, social media socialite, influencer, or simply love to record current events, you need the joystick. The joystick is an essential tool for every type of digital content creator. It holds 2 or more mobile phones or tablets, allowing users to stream and record hands-free on multiple apps simultaneously. And it's lightweight and portable. For more information or to purchase your joystick today, visit our website at www.joystick.com.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Malik McFadden, and did you know that you can listen to Power 108.9 24/7? Just visit the website, power1089.com, or simply say, Alexa, play Power 108.9. Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the Time North Evening Show on Power 108.9. I know y'all have been anxiously waiting, and we're finally here. Listen, I want you to welcome to the studio tonight David Power Talk Solomon and Dr. Sean Harris. Let's give them a round of applause. They're here in the studio. Listen, gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, David, because I ran across your Instagram page, and as one of my friends say, you know when somebody's cooking with the sauce. And brother, you cooking. Welcome to the show.
Well, man, first of all, thank you for having me. First of all, man, like, I love it. Thank you for the invite, and
Definitely.
I'm honored to be on your show, my brother.
So you are an Eric Thomas certified motivational speaker. And if you all don't know who Eric Thomas is, you've been under a rock. He's one of the most powerful motivational speakers that's known in this world. You're an entrepreneur. You're a father. And like I said, I came across your page, and you have a powerful message. A few years ago, you shared a YouTube video. You were in Rome.
Right.
You didn't know I researched it.
Yeah,
did
I like
you?
that. I like that.
And you were encouraging people to not make excuses for where they are,
Yes.
or not blame people for the
Exactly.
things that have happened.
Yep.
Can you talk about that video, where you were then and the
Right.
man you are now?
Exactly. So I was back in Rome. I was at actually in Italy, of course, Rome at the Colosseum. I was doing a shoot for one of my videos. And the reason why I chose to go out there, because exposure is the key to life, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know that you need something until you get exposed to it. So I wanted my viewers and people to not only to see my message, but to see me in a different environment compared to me. Of course, I was raised in the inner city, right below the projects. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But however, the no excuses means when you wake up in the morning, I don't care what you're dealing with. If God gave you life, if gave you opportunity, I need you to shake it off.
Okay.
Because there's some people that woke up praying for your problems.
So you believe that pain is power.
That's correct.
And I'm going to say, ouch.
Right.
I'm like, whoa.
Right.
It's an oxymoron, because
Right.
pain is something that's not nice.
Exactly.
And then power can equate to something that is good.
Right.
Why do you feel that way?
I feel that way because sometimes we allow pain, especially mental awareness, mental health issues to bring us down. Depression, anxiety, trauma, doubt.
Yeah.
And we stay in this little dark room. But now,
You saying mentally we stay in the dark
mentally,
space. Okay.
exactly. Some people that goes through things in life.
Yeah.
Because I went through these things. So I had to find the power inside of me to beat depression.
So you're speaking that pain is power from a personal
Yes,
standpoint.
exactly.
I love that. Dr. Sean Harris, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Brother Ty?
It's good to see you. Listen, I met Dr. Harris. I had the awesome opportunity to be a part of Oscarville, the series, and that's how I met you. And I met you, your wife, your kids. I mean, I was like, I'm their cousin now. I just jumped in the family, right? You're an author. You're a speaker. You're an entrepreneur. You're a husband. You're a dad. You're an author. You've published like 90,000 books. Who are you?
Hey, man, as you see the hat say, I'm just a C student turned CEO.
I love that. What does that mean? Unpack that for our listeners that don't know.
Yeah, I had my high school guidance counselor, I'm not going to say her name, but Miss Harriet Byram. She said that based on my grades being a C student, the most I'd amount to would be a warehouse worker.
What grade? What grade? Were
That
you
was
in?
11th grade going into 12th grade.
Wow. So you're kind of leaving teenage years, going into young adulthood. That's very important. What happened where that changed for you?
Well, I knew better for myself. You know, like most people, we always heard the same thing: go to school, get good grades, go get a good job, and get picket fence and all that kind of stuff. But my dad gave me those options that most of us get when we're like in the 10th, 11th grade. You can either go to college, get a job, or go to the military. So I didn't want to go to school because I figured if you couldn't get it in 12 years, there wasn't too much more you're going to get. Didn't want to get a job because I don't like being told what to do.
My God.
Ended up going to the Air Force.
But
they
you're
still
married,
told me what to
though.
do. Yeah.
But you don't like being told. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I went on to the Air Force. I got a background in aerospace propulsion, aeronautics, all that high
Nice.
fluid and aircraft stuff. And when I got out, I got into law enforcement.
Okay.
That was just a little childhood dream I wanted to fulfill, but I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I come from a family, a long lineage of entrepreneurs.
So let's talk about that, and then David, I want you to come in on that too.
Sure.
We're gonna go into this entrepreneur mode. Okay, I gotta calm down 'cause I get really excited because part of my show is stories that inform and inspire.
Yes.
And you two are here because you have stories that inform and inspire. You know, a lot of times people look at people's social media and they feel like they got it all together, or they look at Atlanta algorithms, people
Right.
that are hosting events,
Right,
people
right.
that are making moves, doing things. They're like, oh, Atlanta's where it is. But y'all down here working for real.
Right.
Like
right.
you just not, you going on vacation. I know you are. And you traveling around the world, you know, but you're putting in the work.
Right.
One of the things that stood out when I met you and I was interviewing you for the Oscarville series, which if you all haven't heard of the Oscarville series, it talks about the history of Lake Lanier. You got to do it. Google that and follow Oscarville, the series. You and your whole family was a part of that. I mean, some of the principal actors and actresses, so kudos to your family. But one of the things I found out was your family has a strong history in Atlanta, particularly in the Edgewood neighborhood. I want you to share a snip. You can't tell it all, preacher, but share a little bit of it and how that impacts where you are now.
Right. First two African American owned hotels in Atlanta were owned by my family. So I come from a long lineage again. My great aunt and uncle owned Ford and Mays. Anybody from Atlanta, you're familiar with the Chitlin Circuit. That's where all the entertainers, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Patti LuPone, everybody came through Atlanta, but you had to only stay in certain facilities. And so there and also Pascal's were the two where all the black entertainers stayed if they didn't stay in their cars.
Dr. Harris, I want to interrupt because I want to be we want to educate people. Talk about, just give us a little description of the Chitlin Circuit for those that don't know in entertainment, what that meant, who that was for.
Yeah, that was when all the big people like Sam Cooke, all the big names,
The
know,
black
in black music.
entertainers, yeah.
In black music, pre-civil rights, during the civil rights era. And that's what they had a certain circuit in which they performed. And
like kind of low budget,
right?
Just holes in the wall kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas their white counterparts got the Carnegie Halls and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's really tight niche. All the entertainers knew each other. They knew our family and everything. So that was a big start. And that same aunt and uncle actually owned the first and only African American owned taxi service in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. So before Freaknik, y'all, there was some stuff going on.
Oh, Atlanta was popping.
Please continue.
Yeah, so both my parents owned companies growing up, so apples don't fall far from the tree.
So you saw all this as a boy. Okay, did you know, how did that shape your mind? Because you're a father.
Right.
So what did that do for you?
Well, my dad used to just take me with him to work a lot of times. He was in the copier service at one point. He worked for Xerox and Konica and all those big companies. And I watched when he got off work, he would go back out again, picking up side customers. And then ultimately he was burning the candle on both ends, and he was ultimately able to burn out the other end of the candle, which was Konica. And he started his own company, had a huge clientele. So my dad, I think he retired when he was like 42.
Oh.
So
man, I'm 49. I'm behind schedule. Go ahead.
So that's all I know. All I understand is entrepreneurship, and same thing with my kids. You know, I take them to chamber of commerce meetings, speaking events, and you kind of see where they're headed now.
Okay, so David, you shared a little bit of your story, and I want you to push into that because while he saw an example, you were kind of told, like, I think it was a grandmother that was like, you know, you can't live here anymore.
Exactly.
What happened to your situation where you kind of dug your own way?
Exactly. So my situation was a little bit different because my father was not in my life, even though my name is David Solomon and my father was named David Solomon. My mother and my father both was on drugs, so I didn't come from the ideal background. And I was living with my father's mother, my grandmother at the time, in Henderson, North Carolina. So what happened was on Christmas Eve, I went to go visit my other grandmother because my mother was in rehab up in northern New Jersey. And on Christmas Eve, she made a phone call that I couldn't come back to the only place I knew was home. So for me, 8, 9 years old, that was one of my first pain points that I had to deal with. But however, my grandmother had a saying. She said, I know right now you can't see what's happening, but a lot of people can see, but not everybody got vision.
That's it. How old were you?
I was probably about 9 when that happened.
That's early, and that's really young.
Yeah.
You mentioned a small town in North Carolina.
Yes.
And then where did this Jersey place?
Right. So Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a total big
Yeah,
difference.
that was a big difference because
Yeah.
I was born and raised in a small town called Henderson, North Carolina.
Which we all have never heard of.
Right, exactly. You're talking about one McDonald's, one gas station.
Yeah.
I lived in a trailer park, came home, mother, dad, needles in the sink. So I came from a very environment that a lot of would have broken a lot of young kids at that age,
What happened where you couldn't no longer live with your grandmother? Then what happened?
So I had to stay with my mother's mother, that grandmother, in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
While my mother was in rehab.
Gotcha.
So that was a transition of, I would say, the new journey of my life.
So additionally, you say pain is power, but there's
Yes.
another statement that you make. When and how did your perspective change? Like, were you in high school? What happened?
My perspective changed when I got the phone call that my mother passed away.
How old were you then?
I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Because of course growing up as a child, I held on to a lot of pain that I didn't know how to deal with it, right? So I went on, I got my degree in engineering, got a great job as an electrical engineer. 3 years, walked off the job, started my own company, did very well for myself. But however, I was never the son that I should have been for my mother because I held on to things that she was doing, not realizing that addiction was something she was fighting. But when she finally kicked the addiction, then she went into alcohol, but I still wasn't the son that I should have been. So I held on to a lot of pain. But however, when I got that phone call, I realized that there's one thing we got to understand is that we can't get back time. So understanding that, I wasted a lot of time on holding on to things that don't even matter. Because now I can't even call her just to say Merry Christmas.
Like what? The pain of feeling abandoned? Or what specifically did you hold on to emotionally?
Right. Abandonment, trauma, embarrassment. Because, my mother, the neighborhood I grew up in, Henderson, North Carolina, was a small town, right?
So everybody knew everybody's business.
Exactly. Yeah. So one of my best friends, he go to school. Hey, David, mom's on drugs, whatever. So I was kind of the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
I felt like everybody was picking on me. I felt like that I wasn't wanted. I felt like that, I stood out for the wrong reason. So it was hard to deal with, as a young man. And then I remember my very most crucial pain points is when I was playing my Atari. I'll tell my age.
I remember Atari.
Right. Yeah. So I heard this loud noise in the kitchen, and I come in. My mother laying on the floor. She's half naked, and it's 4 men standing around her. And one of the men told me to put my hand in a bucket of ice and rub ice on her chest because she was laying there lifeless, and I didn't know what I was doing. But he said, keep going. And finally she popped up. I ran out the house. At that moment, I realized my mother was having an overdose. And that's when I realized my mother was addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
So that one pain point right there was something that changed my whole perspective on life.
You made a comment a couple times about not feeling like or not being the son you should have been.
Correct.
Can you unpack that for us to help us know what that means for you?
For me, it means that when somebody is struggling with something that they need help in,
that's good.
Don't abandon them. Do your best to be there for them, right? And I had a lot of anger inside of me that I came in the house and I wasn't myself. I was, there was times that I wouldn't even embrace the infection. My mother was very huggy, kissy, come here. I guess she wanted to do that so much for me because she felt bad because of the circumstances. But I was the opposite. I was like, get off me, don't hug me, don't do anything. But there was moments, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here. There was moments we laughed, we kicked it. My mother's very funny. That's where I get my personality from. My mother, she would light the room up. If there was a room of us on Thanksgiving and Christmas, my mother was the center of attention, you know? But however, I was never fully open with my mother. Like, you ever be with somebody you're really not yourself? Because you're inside, you're holding on to some things, so you're not giving them your all. And I felt like I never really gave my mother my all once I became an adult or once I became older as a teenager, because now my thought patterns is I'm putting judgment in front of love, right?
That's really good. I'm going to have to write that down which parlays me into a question for both of you. How did you stop letting things get to you? That's for you first, and then to you.
Right. So for me to stop letting things get to me was I got a gratitude journal, and I'm very intentional on being thankful for the small things I have and start worrying about the things I don't have.
That's good. Okay, Dr. Harris.
Well, I've always had an attitude of blanket as far as caring what people think, because a lot of times people will make prescriptions for your life and your destiny, and they expect you to go ahead and subscribe to that. But so many times you just got to realize, and another thing too is like, my biggest hurdle was getting over the fact that everybody doesn't think the way I do.
They don't.
And that was hard for me. And my wife helped me out a lot with that. She said, Sean, if everybody thought the way you did, there would be nobody working, everybody be self-employed, et cetera, et cetera. So that was one of my biggest challenges. But I just got to the point where it's like, you know what? What's for you is for you. That's what my wife always says. What's for you is for you. What's for me is for me.
Because I'm not on any dating sites. I don't knock that. I'm happily single right now in my life. But I think about, I've been on a dating site before, but like you could have a six-pack abs, a flat stomach, you know, your nose contoured, you still can't get anybody. So I'll say that to say you never can be perfect, so why not subscribe to your own narrative? As you both are saying. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into some more questions with my guests. This is the Tide North Evening Show on Power 108.9.
Keep it locked. Power 108.9. The station for the people.
My powerful and pristine people, it's your boy E-Money, your favorite engineer. Check it out. If you want to get involved with Power 108.9 as far as partnerships and advertising, if you want to reach our 50,000 plus listeners and viewers per week, please email power1089ads@gmail.com. That's power1089ads@gmail.com. Speak to our marketing director so we can get you set up and ready to go. Let us help you reach your targeted audience and expand your brand.
Question: what's the only station where you can get R&B, hip-hop, pop, and talk radio? Time's up.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Yo, it's Michael McFadden of Power 108.9, and I want to ask you a question. Are you looking for a new house? If so, you need to holler at our guy, the mortgage guy, Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com. Yeah, Alvin like the chipmunk, and Jameson like that fine whiskey. Not only can he help you on the purchase of that new home, he can also assist you on that refinance as well. So whether it's FHA, conventional, and of course that VA home loan that you sitting on right now, yo, call Alvin Jameson. 404-587-9033. Once again, 404-587-9033. Trust the guy we trust here at Power 108.9. Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com, or just call him 404-587-9033. And of course, tell him you heard it right here on Power 108.9. Let's go.
It's estimated that around 100,000 enslaved people escaped the North via the Underground Railroad from 1810 to 1850.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
100,000.
Harriet Tubman was working.
What?
That's why she looked like that in all them pictures.
My good. In 2012 at the London Olympics, Gabby Douglas became the first black gymnast.
She was tired.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Hey Atlanta, this is Sayon, and you're listening to Power 108.9.
Well, welcome back to the Tide North Evening Show on Power 108.9. We're going to get back into the show. Dr. Harris, I want to ask you a question. You mentioned that you feel like generational wealth is a mindset. What does that mean?
Well, one of the key things when it comes to generational wealth, I think so many times we get so focused on, as people say, grinding and on their hustle. I don't like neither one of those words first.
I don't either.
Because grind means reduced to its lowest particle, and hustle means busy movements. A hamster on the wheel is busy and hurried, but it's not getting anywhere. It's on the same methodical wheel. So the thing is that we got to focus on creating wealth in our particular generation and being able to leave wealth.
Creating wealth and leaving wealth. We've heard that a gazillion and one times.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you're personifying that through your children. Talk about how you and your wife parent them through generational wealth.
Well, one of the things, like I said, we bring both kids with us. Everything we do, we have family discussions. We talk about money. A lot of time, particularly in our culture, we're always told kids are to be seen and not heard. And that is the worst thing you can do to a kid. So I always say that if you treat kids like kids, you'll get kid-like behavior. If you treat kids like adults, you'll get adult-like behavior while still maintaining the kid. So both Katie and Kennedy, 12 and 11, they fulfill all the kid things. They have a lot of fun, but at the same time, they build businesses. Both kids have a capital investment firm each. Caden has his business with financial literacy, and Kennedy has her own African-American doll collection, as well as her own multivitamin children's line. So those are the things we teach them, is to be able to have tools and instruments in place that they can be able to carry on generational wealth. So the things that we're doing is for them and their grandkids. Things we're teaching the kids to do is to build for yourselves, but also build for their grandkids. That way you have a leapfrog effect, and that's what creates indestructible wealth.
What about families sitting out there saying, but we got to pay our mortgage and we got to pay our household expenses? What does that look like for them?
Well, first it comes with education.
Okay.
You know, when we go to school, we get it's three types of education. The first one's called academic or scholastic education.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we learn how to read, write, arithmetics. We take that to exchange our time for somebody else's money, i.e. a job.
Mm-hmm.
Second form is professional education. That's where we hone in on our skills, such as being an attorney, engineer, doctor, something like that. We tend to be self-employed. We make more money. But as David said, we got to give up more time. Okay? Mm-hmm. The third type of education is not taught in school. It's usually self-taught. And that's financial education. And the financial education is what start teaching you business acumen, start teaching you about finances. Because if I say go out and take a button hook to the right, you went to the left. Before you turned around, the ball was already in the air to the right. If you can't catch the ball, you can't score. If you can't score, you can't win. If you can't win, you can never win championships and create a dynasty.
What about the truth that there are systematic racism and that there aren't opportunities historically for persons of color, particularly as they enter into entrepreneurship?
Well, the biggest thing there is exposure. I cannot stress exposure enough, because I'm from Decatur. You know what I'm saying? I went to Columbia High School. I was in the same class, same environment as many other people who had different outcomes.
Right.
So it's all about, again, your exposures. To give you, I give myself exposures constantly. Last night I gave myself an exposure for something I never done before. I bought a $250 steak last night.
Whoa.
It's called an A5. You hear E.T. and Maul talk about that quite a bit, David.
Yep. Was it good?
Man, I want to go find the cow mama and thank her.
Wow.
Hey, that steak was delicious.
Yeah. Did you take a doggy bag or you finished it all there?
I finished all 42 ounces.
Speaking of, you said create exposure.
Mm-hmm.
You're having an event coming up in June.
Yes, correct.
Talk about that and why that's important.
It's very important because what he just said, exposure is the key. But there's one key element is that you must embrace the next step. You must want the next step. So we create a room for like-minded people, what I call the 1% of the 1%. So my event is called It's My Turn Mastermind, June 4th in Atlanta at the Grand Hyatt Hotel. I have people just help people to learn how to make 6 figures in Airbnb space, 6 figures in real estate, to make 6 figures as a motivational speaker, to also to join the mentorship. We have people who's going to be telling you how to fix your credit. Business funding. So it's all areas that we need in our community to help each other to grow, right? But one key thing I tell anybody to come to my event on June 4th is that be ready to embrace it and take the first step. Because like he just said, exposure is the key, right? I can expose you to a lot of different things in life. But if you don't want to do it, I can't make you get up and, like you said, and follow your dreams. I can't make you believe that you could buy that house. I can't make you believe that you could start from the bottom and you could start making 7 figures and work your way up to 8 figures. But if you believe in yourself and you get exposed to the right people, you connect with them, you network with them, and that's what my business is about. It's about being in that room, because you're going to see the speakers on stage. That's just the plus.
Right.
But the main effect is you sitting beside somebody right here that you're going to start making millions with.
Where can they find you on your Instagram platform or to register for that event?
So if you go to on Instagram, David Power Talk, the link is in my bio.
Okay.
You can go ahead and you can click the link. So what I did, because I know I was coming on here, I opened up about 10 free spots.
Whoa! Go ahead, Dave.
So I opened up 10 free spots. So if you're in Atlanta, you're listening to this right now, go to David Power Talk, go to my Instagram, go to the link in my bio, right? And then you click on tickets. Go to the bottom, you'll say David Power Talk, special invite only. It's absolutely free. Now, I'm gonna warn you about this, right? Because when people don't pay for something, they don't appreciate the value in it. So if you do click on that link, I want you to act like you paid $10,000 for that ticket. And you come up here and you sit there and you bring your pen and your pad and you get ready for some information that would change your life. Don't tell me you broke. I've been there. Don't tell me that, oh, you depressed. I've been there. So it's no excuses. You come to my event, I guarantee you we can change your life.
I'm going to play devil's advocate to both of you. I have some friends that I know that feel, what if I don't want to be motivated?
Right.
What if I don't want to talk about generational wealth? You know, is that okay?
I'll let you go.
Yeah,
first. I'll let you go first.
it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because somebody got to cook the fries.
Oh, I was about to go back to you.
But here's the deal. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is not for everybody, and no entrepreneur wants it to be for everybody, but you can still be an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur is somebody who can still be on their game in a 9-to-5. Now, can you create wealth in a 9-to-5? Yeah, with proper investments, proper wisdom, good business acumen. But if you just love what you do as a job, at least get a consulting business doing what you do in a job to make some side income. Because just like in our car, we all got a spare tire. And it's just in case of a blowout, in case of in case of a blowout. So again, do we have a just in case income? Do you have a spare income in case of a financial blowout? Because if you look at the X out factor.
The what factor?
X out. If you X
out.
yourself out of the equation, particularly if you're the head of the family, what just happened to your family financially?
It's nowhere.
See, these are things people never stop and talk about. And that's why it's important to set your finances up. You know, whether you're going to have a job or not. You can keep a job.
Dave, what you going to add to that?
Yes, I was going to add what you said was that everybody in life, you have to understand your individual assignment, right? Because like you just said, you had an employee that's no longer with you, right? But the value that she brought to your platform is priceless, right? But you need her to work in that position at her best level. So what I want people to understand is that you don't have to want the millions or the billions, but what I want you to do is just to be the best version in that whatever position or the assignment that God gave you. Like what I don't like when I go to a restaurant and the waiter like have a bad attitude. Like, I'm sorry, did you have an attitude? We got your check on Friday. Like, just be the best version. Understand your assignment in life, because the CEO, he needs that person in the mailroom.
Yeah.
His company has to operate. But however, like he said earlier, though, like he just said, but understand that you can develop wealth and build for your family, even in that position. You still could buy real estate. You still could fix your credit. You still could get funding. And you still could operate at a lower level without all the stress or all the worry that comes as an entrepreneur. I'm not gonna say it's easy.
I love that you just said
everybody
that,
ain't built for this. I'm gonna be honest with you.
The stress of it.
Yes.
The getting up early.
The getting up early. Some people don't
emails.
want to do that. Like, I'm not getting up early. I ain't dealing with this right now. I'm okay with just getting up, being at work at 9. I get off at 4 o'clock. I see my kids. I watch my shows. I get back up. Some people are okay with that, and I don't knock people for that. The only thing I just say is, just be the best version of yourself in whatever position that you're playing.
I really like how you, we don't have to show that, but you know, you brought some of your team here today. You're reaching back.
Yes, correct.
And I love how you did that today. Why is reaching back and mentoring important to you?
It's very important because I brought my youngest speaker in my speaker program. His name is Bryce Speaks, right?
Come on.
So I met him at a mastermind, Neil Davis. That's my mentor. Neil Davis is a phenomenal mentor. And And I was walking up the steps. I bumped into his mother, and we made eye contact. And she said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a motivational speaker." And I just thought, she said, "Stop." And she almost got in tears. And then her son Bryce stepped right in front of me. He told me his story. As soon as he told me his story, he had his father in his life. He was going through his pain points, but he was so confident in his pain that I was so just.
That's powerful.
Yes, he moved me. And I said, if he moved me, he can move millions, because he need to walk into these inner city schools, and he needs to step on that stage in front of them and say, listen, yes, my daddy wasn't there. I didn't have the ideal life, but I didn't make no excuses. I'm still honor roll. I'm still a motivational speaker. I'm still starting companies. I'm still working for my family, so that way they don't have to work as hard no more, because I'm going to do it for them. So when he was telling me that, I say, my brother, I'm going to mentor you, and I'm going to do it for free.
I love that. I'm going to parlay that into your children, because when I interviewed them, they blew me away. And it wasn't a big segment, but just the confidence. I'm like, who are these kids? But that is so powerful. That is so powerful, because part of success, you all know that, like your father did too, is somebody opening the door and saying, come through here.
I never had that. Never had it.
But along the way, I'm saying, even as you mentioned Neil,
right? Exactly.
At some juncture, because some people are like, nah, I just work hard. No, somebody also said, come this way.
Exactly. You need a coach. You need a mentor. I'm sorry, and whatever you do.
Yeah. Were your kids ever resistant?
They pretty much came out the womb that way. We put them in Toastmasters at an early age. Most people don't think you can take Toastmasters as a kid, but we put them in Toastmasters. My son, Caden, he couldn't talk until he was about 5 years old. He had some kind of language going on with my wife and him, and it was just blah, blah, blah. No, it was like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
Right.
Nobody could understand him but her, and I was concerned. But now you see he graced the stage. He just got an invite. We're going right back up to Chicago.
He's an actor. Do they sing?
They don't do that yet.
They don't sing. Okay.
No.
Well, they ain't got to sing. They got so much money. Let me ask you something too. Do you all have a nanny? Do you have a housekeeper? Like who does the laundry? Like who keeps all this going? Why this stuff is? Because I have a cleaning lady. I need help. I'm just telling you.
Everybody just kind of do their thing. But one of the key things is I fired my wife's job 6 years ago.
Say that again.
Come on, amen.
I fired her job.
What does that mean?
I told her to tell her boss she fired.
What if she liked it?
She didn't.
She didn't. Okay.
It was all right, but we got bigger and better things to do.
So you did that, and then what happened?
Her creativity came out.
Wow.
Everything you see in the Harris family as far as books. I'm on book number 36 now that I've written. Over half of those, she designed the covers.
I shouldn't even be saying wow, because there's so much creativity in us, but we are kind of clouded when we're stuck at a 9 to 5 or whatever, because that mortgage, because we don't have financial acumen. So I get it.
See, it's like a lion. When you go to your local zoo, City of Atlanta zoo, you see the lion, king of the jungle, but he just sit there. He might wag his tail, knock off a couple flies. He'll get up, walk over there, lay down, do the same thing. But you never hear him roar. And the reason why is because he forgot he's a lion. Just like a man or woman forget you're a man or woman going to a 9 to 5 every day, doing the same monotonous activities in and out.
Okay, I want to go back to you firing your wife's job, because all the ladies want to hear this. I just know. Okay, keep going.
I had a mentor, man. He told me, he said, listen, if your wife get all prettied up and dolled up to go to work for another man and then come home looking raggedy to you, you better get out and see what he look like.
Ooh, I like
you
that.
You just taught on this.
Come on.
So I was like, hey, why should I let her talents be out there for somebody else to increase their revenue when we got family businesses that need ours? Because I just saw her creativity come out. Because whenever I would do interviews, she would just kind of be quiet. And everybody say, well, what is it that you do? What did you do? She'd say, really quiet. But when it got to that point, it was like a lotus blossom just exploded. And she said, hey, you ever thought about this? You ever thought about that? And I'm over there like taking notes like, yo, that's what it's about.
So she was the mastermind behind the creativity of the book covers. What about the publishing company?
Publishing company, that's me. I pretty much put everything together as far as publishing companies.
You publish your own books through your...
Yeah, we publish our own, other people's books. We also publish courses. The kids have multiple courses. Do you have like a room at your house with computers that you all go? Like, where does all this happening? Everybody got their own battle station. I got my own battle station. Kaden got monitors set up all over the room. So
I'm a visual learner. And if this is personal, what about health insurance? What about, like, most people stay in an employer because those benefits are provided. Can you share that? Any bit of that?
I'll give you 2 points on that. I had one of my mentors, he told me many years ago, he said, Sean, the most expensive procedure medically cost $2 million at that particular time. He said, that's a heart transplant. He said, I got $2 million in the bank. I don't need insurance. And I thought about that for a while, and I was like, He said, when you could take that capital and deploy it elsewhere to generate more capital, that's a higher and better use of your income or your money. So again, a lot of times people say, well, what about insurance? Or what about this? But you got to make your money be like soldiers. They got to go out and bring back friends.
Tell it where to go.
So as far as insurance, we square.
Okay.
And we're also both vets. So
okay.
That's a little bit of free medical there too.
What about we talked about entrepreneurship being like everybody. I'm gonna say this to you.
Right.
I don't know what else you could do if you wasn't your own brand.
Right.
Like, what were you said you have your degree in engineering.
Correct.
How did you know? Because we still from the black family. We were like,
Right.
don't you walk off that good job. And it's counter some of the messages that you're sending.
Right.
So it's not for everybody.
Exactly. It's not. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Because I went to school, got my degree in engineering, and in 3 years, I was a top head engineer for GE at the time, which really was Bentley Nevada, but they got bought out by GE. So 3 years in, I closed on my second property. And when I closed on my second property, I made twice what I would make in a year. And I said to myself, it's time to go. And that's one thing about me. I'm a high D. I don't know if you took the DISC assessment. So
you a what?
A high D. So that means that you make your decisions without so many details. You just know you're going to do it.
Oh.
And you commit first and figure out the rest later.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I committed first to entrepreneurship, and I said, you know what? I believe in myself first. I put all chips on the table, and I betted on David Solomon. So I jumped out the window, got into real estate, started my own companies, and I haven't missed a meal yet. And right now I got 2 companies grossing over 7 figures, and plus I got a third company now as a motivational speaker platform that I've been doing this for over almost 10 years now.
Now, I really like that. I really like that the mentality, because you talk about that, about generational wealth, and even to me, before you teach principles, it becomes a mindset. Do you agree?
Absolutely. David just hit a key point. That's what I tell people all the time. Successful people, we don't have to know everything. We just need to know enough to get moving.
That's right.
Because so many people see opportunity miss a lot of people because when it's knocking on your door, you're worried about who is it. You got to look through the peephole. You got to take all these latches off. Well, by the time you get the door open, opportunity is already on your neighbor's doorstep, and they're opening the door. Because, see, in every adversity, in the seatbed of every adversity, lies an opportunity. When COVID happened, everybody panicked. 3 weeks into the lockdown, I was like, yo, get out here, start writing some books, write some courses, build some businesses, grow. That was the time to grow.
So that when it kind of was lifting, your stuff is coming out or floating.
Exactly. Because a lot of the stuff that we have in multiple of our companies is a result of what we did then. You just put the hammer down and go. Because look, if the world gonna come to an end anyway at that time, what you was gonna do with the money?
At least you was busy making some books and stuff.
Hey, 3 people came out of that. Millionaires, billionaires, and witnesses.
I wish... Is somebody writing this down? Millionaires, billionaires. That is really good. Listen, we got a segment of the show called On the Fly with Ty. And this is a part where I throw out a phrase or word and it's a round robin. So I go back and forth and y'all give me the first thing. We might have to do a part 2 to this because we got some more stuff to talk about. Like I wanted you to talk about eminent domain and all that kind of stuff. And I want you to talk some more about what you do in the coaching and mentoring, because now people want to follow you and they want to be a part of something that's moving. But let's do a little bit of On the Fly with Ty.
Let's go.
Let's get some music. Okay. First word, mentorship.
Mandatory.
Discipline.
Necessary.
Leadership.
Me.
Peace.
Part of life.
Hold on. Social economics.
Group economics.
Discrimination.
Not necessary.
Describe yourself in 3 words. Go.
Winner, leader, example.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Disciplined, dedicated, motivated.
If you were president for one day, what would be the first thing that you would address?
Instill financial literacy in school.
What is your superpower?
My mindset.
Y'all did good. Y'all, I give y'all A+. Good Lord today. Oh, do you know the song the 12 Days of Christmas? What's the 12th day?
I don't know the exact words.
What's the 12th day?
I try to sing it in my head now.
Just throw that out. All right. Y'all did good. Y'all did good. Y'all get it. Before we go, we're near the end of the show. Tell our listeners where they can find you, because they're going to want to get all your books.
Got it. You can find me on Sean J. Harris, everything, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, SeanJHarris.com is my website, and also GenWealthAcademy.com.
Okay, on your Facebook, you have Generational Wealth Academy. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, it's an academy that starts as early as 3 years old teaching financial literacy. People always say, well, Sean, at what point should you start teaching financial literacy? As soon as you can talk. So we teach from pretty much coming out the womb all the way up through adulthood.
3 years old? Then that's kind of true, because this little boy at my church did the Lord's Prayer verbatim at 3 years old. Generational Wealth Academy on Facebook. They can follow that and get looped and connected to all that you're doing. All right, David Power Talk. Where did Power Talk come from? Because you are full of power.
Yes, David Power Talk. Well, before I became a motivational speaker, of course, I was an entrepreneur, so I always gave people Power Talk. They would say, you always try to give me a Power Talk. So that's how I put the David in front of the Power Talk. But you can find me, David Power Talk, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, like I said, on my website also too. Everything is under David Power Talk, pretty much.
What are you doing now, or have you learned that you wish you knew 10 years ago?
To be in the right room. That's necessary. Be around the right people, because when you're the smartest person in the room and you have nobody to elevate you, you're living in a cage.
But how do you know sometimes when somebody's like, hey man, come to my event, and it's not really, you know what I mean?
Right. I try to do a little bit of research of who's speaking and what they're talking about. I will say some events might not be ideal for you, but the more research you do, as long as even if it's just a networking event, I feel like it's powerful, because you might meet a realtor, right? Or
right.
You might meet somebody with business funding,
right.
You might meet somebody, life insurance. There's always another branch of life that you might not have, that you might need to move forward and help you, or you might help them.
That's a true leader speaking. That no man's an island.
Oh,
you can always learn something.
I've learned that, really, that's necessary.
How do you show up now than you did 10 years ago?
More wisdom, more knowledge. One of the things I do, because so many people talk about generational wealth to where it can become generic. But as you see, my hashtag is generational wealth in real life, because that's what we do for real.
Listen.
And one of the things with that, to elevate people to a whole nother level of generational wealth, you got to understand private family banking. See, we own our own bank.
Your family does.
Yeah. So you got to know how to leverage whole life dividend paying policies, just like the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, the Vanderbilts. They've been doing it for generations. And that's how you build indestructible wealth. Because see, when something in our community, we only think of life insurance for the death benefits. But your life insurance policy is supposed to be able to create and generate and build wealth while you're living. And then when you die, that's just a caveat.
When you're talking sometime, has your wife ever looked at you and said, who is this?
Sometimes she do, but she vibe with me most of the time, though. But she's my sounding board. I'll just go, and she'll just get a recording, just start recording.
Is she ever doing something unrelated? At this point, it's you all's life. It's not part of who you are. But like maybe she's surfing her phone and you just come up with something, and she be like, "I'm doing something right now."
All the time.
Okay, I just wonder was it me. So how do you have time for yourself? How do you wind down? You talked a little bit about struggles of depression, a little bit of things you've experienced. How do you find time for you? Where do you laugh at? Where's that peace place?
Balance. I learned balance is the key. I learned it the hard way when I was right before I got married. I was ripping and running. I was, like I said, I got 3 different companies, and I caught COVID. And I really thought I was out of here. Like, I'd never been that sick in my entire life. I wasn't worried about the money. I wasn't worried about the cars. I wasn't worried about the house. The only thing I was worried about is just seeing another day and walk outside. Like, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to try to achieve these crazy goals. But sometimes the most important thing that I wanted to do was just look my wife and my kids in the face and just say, let's go watch a movie together. Let's go walk outside. Let's do something for ourselves. So I had to learn the word balance is the key in life, right? Because when you go to grave, you can't take these things with you. But one thing I want my daughter and my son to realize is that their father, no matter what he went through, he still stood up like a king. And you're going to be a king, son, and you're going to be a queen. But in order for them to do that, I got to show them, like, I love the movie King Richard.
Yeah.
And remember when Serena, they wanted her to go into the tournament, and he took them to Disney World instead because he didn't want to burn them out.
Yeah.
He said they still going to be kids.
Yeah.
No matter what. They're going to be great no matter what, but they still going to live a life. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Learn how to put one egg here, one egg here, one egg here, because all areas of life need you, and it's necessary for the right people.
Before we tune off, and I want to hear last from you, June 4th, give us
Yes.
that last plug.
But listen, June 4th, It's My Turn Mastermind. Listen, if you listen to David Powell talk right now, there is something inside of you right now that you know it's your turn. It's your turn to be the entrepreneur. It's your turn to be a coach. It's your turn to get that business funding. It's that turn to fix your credit. It's that turn to get over depression. It's that turn to get over anxiety. It's that turn to get over doubt. It's that turn to find that husband, to find that wife. There is something inside of you that you got to say, it's my turn. So if you know it's your turn, I need you at my mastermind. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to help you understand, first of all, yes, it's your turn. Now that you know it's your turn, how do you take the necessary steps to operate in your turn? June 4th, Atlanta, Mastermind, Grand Hyatt Hotel, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get there 8:30. Like I said, I open a link for you guys right now. Go to my Instagram right now. I open up some spots for you. Absolutely free. VIP, but be careful. I told you, when you don't pay for something, you don't take it personally. You don't take it seriously. I need you to come in there with your pen and your pad, and your life would change. You know why? Because my life changed when I went to my first mastermind.
Dr. Harris, I want you to close this out. What if people were listening and they don't know where to get started and they want to take their family, because it's a journey? How can they get started with you?
Well, one of the things we do with Generational Wealth Academy is we do family coaching as well. So we also start with the children, but we also do group family counseling and coaching. I think that's one of the best starts for people. It's just do an assessment, see where you are, because we can't tell where we're going financially if we don't sit down. We got to look at credit. We got to talk about authorized credit usership with our kids. We got to be able to talk about being able to set LLCs up for our children at age 12 or earlier, so that that LLC is seasoned. So when they're 16 years old, they can now make dominating moves in the real estate space and investments and stuff like that. So that's paramount.
Okay, y'all, we're at the end of the show. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. You can listen to the playback. All this wealth of information. Hit me up if you want their information and you didn't hear it, you didn't get it. Thank y'all for joining me. See you next month on the Ty North Evening Show.